Alright, today we're going to dig into a real gem from television's past, a show that was both a classic of its time and, honestly, way ahead of it. This is the story of a soap opera that tried to mix that classic small-town drama with some seriously big literary ideas.
That right there, that was the world of From These Roots. Now, this wasn't just another daytime drama from the late 50s. Oh no, this show had ambitions that went way, way beyond the typical melodrama you'd expect.
So the whole thing kicks off with a classic setup, right? The return home. But it's who comes home and why that really sets the stage for a story that was anything but ordinary.
So let's meet our hero, Elizabeth Fraser Allen, but everyone called her Liz. And Liz was not your typical small-town girl, not at all. She was a successful writer living a big life in Washington, D.C. I mean, she had it all, a great career, a fiancé. Her future was pretty much mapped out.
But you know how life is. It has a funny way of throwing a wrench in the best-laid plans. A sudden family crisis hits. Her dad has a heart attack. And just like that, she's pulled right back to her hometown, Strathfield. She drops everything to take on this totally new and unexpected role, running the family newspaper. And yeah, that one event, that's what sets the whole series in motion.
And you've got to understand, Strathfield wasn't just some random town they used as a backdrop. No, it was a character in itself. A living, breathing community, all tangled up with these complex relationships, old loyalties, and of course, plenty of drama.
At the very center of town life was the Fraser family. You had the patriarch, Ben Sr., who wasn't just the newspaper owner, but also the mayor, a big deal. Then there was Liz's brother, Ben Jr., a farmer, who kind of wanted to stay out of all the family business. You also have her sister, Emily, and this is important, her niece, Liddy, who actually starts working with Liz at the Strathfield Record, representing that next generation.
So for Liz, her core struggle was this constant tug of war. She's being pulled in two powerful directions. On one side, you've got her love life, which is messy. We're talking a complex triangle with her husband David and a troubled actress. But on the other side, there's this heavy weight of duty, to her family, to her town, and to the newspaper that was their legacy. That tension right there between love and duty, that was the engine that powered the whole show.
But what really, and I mean really, made From These Roots stand out wasn't just its drama. It was its ambition. This show was aiming higher, trying to blend the soap opera format with something way more sophisticated. The show had this, well, you could call it a literary tone. It wasn't just about who was dating whom. The storylines would actually dig into some pretty complex moral dilemmas and societal issues. It was asking its viewers to think, to engage on a deeper level, which was pretty rare for daytime TV at the time. And get this, for a perfect example of that ambition, they did a show within a show. Seriously. The series had a whole storyline about a television production of the classic novel Madame Bovary, starring one of its own characters. It was such a bold, kind of meta thing to do, weaving classic literature right into the fabric of a daytime soap.
Now, you can't have these kinds of complex stories without an amazing cast to pull it off, and wow, the actors on From These Roots were just incredible. A lot of these folks would go on to become huge, huge stars.
I mean, just take a look at this lineup. You've got Charlotte Rae, yep, Mrs. Garrett from The Facts of Life. There's Audra Lindley, the iconic Helen Roper from Three's Company, Robert Madan from the parody series Soap, Joseph Mascolo, who became the legendary Stefano DiMera, and hey, look at that, a very young Richard Thomas, long before he was John Boy on the Waltons. The show was a launch pad for a whole generation of TV legends.
So with a great story and a stellar cast, the show was a success. But here's the thing, its run was surprisingly short. And that leads to the big question. Why would a popular, well-respected show just vanish? The show premiered in the summer of '58. For 3.5 years, it was a staple on daytime TV, producing over 900 episodes. It was a certified hit with a really loyal fan base. And then, at the end of 1961, it was just gone.
This is the central mystery here. Why on earth would a network pull the plug on a hit show? Well, the answer's kinda just as complex as the show's own storylines. And here's the really ironic part. The very thing that made From These Roots so special was also what sealed its fate. Its literary style, its moral complexity. It was all considered a bit too unusual for what networks thought the typical daytime audience wanted back then. It was, in a way, a victim of its own ambition. But, and this is a big but, there's a silver lining.
Unlike so many shows that get canceled on a cliffhanger, the creators were actually able to give it a proper finale. They wrapped up all the major storylines, gave Liz and David their happy ending, and provided real closure for the viewers who had followed their journey. That's pretty great.
So even though its time on the air was brief, the impact of From These Roots, its roots, you might say, went deep, planting seeds that would blossom in television for years and years to come.
When you look back, its legacy is crystal clear. It challenged what a soap opera could be. It elevated the whole genre with its focus on moral depth. It was a crucial stepping stone for an incredible roster of talent, and it really foreshadowed that shift toward the kind of complex, character-driven storytelling that we now consider the gold standard of television. At the end of the day, the story of this show is a powerful reminder that ambition in art is never wasted. It pushed the boundaries of its time, proving that a daytime drama could be both super entertaining and genuinely profound.
So, how about you? Were you familiar with this classic show? I'm curious to hear what you think. And what other groundbreaking series do you believe deserve a closer look? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for joining me for this one.